How am I taxed when I retire, especially if I retire early? Now, in Switzerland, there are many taxes that apply. So let's work through an example. Hi, I'm Janet. I'm a business finance specialist. I've spent the last 5 years deep diving retirement. I now make easy to understand content so that you can get the best out of your retirement. This example is going to take us from work to 60 when we want to retire. We'll consider all income and assets and the corresponding taxes from work retirement at 60, then at around 63, and then to 65 and onwards. Now, I've included the common income and assets and their corresponding taxes, so this should cover your situation too. For those interested, I've used Zurich City as a tax basis. That's 8001. It is actually quite high. Now, let's fill in the data. Now, first of all, we're still working. So we have a good salary of around 100,000, savings of just under 500,000. We've inherited some money, and a house with a tax value of about 1 million. Now, that's the value in your tax return, not the sale value. And the rest don't apply yet. Now, income tax, remember, this is based on Zurich City rates, is just over 11,000. Your wealth tax is around 3,500. And the next one's called the AHV tax. Now, it's called AHV, AHV, state pension tax, social security tax, state tax. There are so many names for this, okay? But this is the amount that you pay for your state pension. It's automatically taken from your salary by your employer, so this is only seen in your payslip. However, it's still a tax, so it's still relevant. So whilst working, your taxes total just over 21% of your income. Now let's have a look what happens when you've just retired. Now, your savings and your house value remain the same. Now, regarding company pension, you've decided to take 30,000 per year as a pension income, and the rest as a 1 million cash withdrawal. However, as you can see, the 1 million lands in your account as just under 900,000 due to a pension withdrawal tax of around 11%. That's over 100,000 that's been taken out as taxes. Now, I have assumed that you've invested this money on the stock market, and therefore you make 1,000 francs a year on dividends, and that's shown as income and treated as income. You are not yet entitled to claim state pension. So your income tax is quite low, as your new income is only 31,000. Your wealth tax has significantly increased, as you have added your pension withdrawal money of almost 900,000 to your wealth. And finally, the big shock is the AHV payment, i.e. the state pension tax, which you now have to pay, and it's payable until age of 65. Now, if you're not working, i.e. you've retired early, the amount is based on your income and your wealth. Now, it's really important that you understand and calculate this correctly. So subscribe and watch out for my new video on this subject. Now, the tax you have paid as a percentage of your income has now increased to a whopping 54%. So that means half of your 31,000 is being spent on taxes. Let's move on. You are now a couple of years away from your official retirement age. Everything stays the same, except that you can now take a state pension of 24,000, albeit it's a reduced rate as you've taken it early. The new state pension income has, of course, caused an increase in your taxes, your income tax, as you've moved from 31,000 a year to 55,000 income a year. Your wealth tax remains the same, but the AHV tax has increased due to an increase in income. There is no further pension withdrawal tax, as this only happens as a one-off when you withdraw the money from the pension plan. So your tax as a percentage of your income has now reduced to roughly 38%, but still quite high. You've now reached 65. Your income and your assets all remain the same. Your taxes for the income and the wealth also remain the same. The big benefit is that you no longer have to pay the AHV, the Social Security tax, meaning that your tax as a percentage of your income is now back to around 20%. Now, if you need to, stop the video here and take some time to look at this and see how this may impact you. So what are the takeaways from this example? First is that the pension withdrawal is taxed. So in this example, we withdrew 1 million from the pension, but was taxed 11% on that money. Now this tax rate is determined by the amount, your canton and your Gemeinde. Now there are ways to reduce this, so subscribe to find out. A new video is coming on this. And this money is also taxed as wealth, so it's a bit of a double whammy. Now the second takeaway is the AHV state pension. No matter your situation, you have to pay AHV tax up to the age of 65. If you're not working, i.e. you've taken early retirement, it's based on your income and your wealth, and it finally disappears at 65. Now, I cannot stress how important it is that if you have some assets and you are thinking of retiring early, that you understand and know how to calculate your AHV tax liability. Now, once again, there is a new video coming up about that, so don't forget to subscribe. The third takeaway is to know what is taxed as income. From our example, it's the monthly paid out pensions as well as the dividend. Now these are taxed as normal income from your Gemeinde and canton. You may have noticed that I actually excluded any money made on the stock market. Any stock market gains in your portfolio is actually not in Switzerland taxed as income. It is only taxed as an increase in wealth. Now, Swiss taxes at retirement can seem complicated, but they don't have to be. With a little bit of effort, you can work out when's the best time for you to retire, where you should be, i.e. which Gemeinde, which canton, and also how much you are likely to pay. Subscribe for more relevant retirement content.